Hello everyone, Big Joe here, and as you're probably aware, we just hit 1,000 subscribers. Now, you probably think I'm really excited, right? Like I can't possibly maintain my composure. But no, you see, there's actually been a lot of pressure in this process, and all I really feel at this point is relief.
嘘である。この災難はとても喜んで、理由もなくシャドーボクシングを始めました。
So to celebrate this milestone, you guys have asked questions, and I am here to answer them. Now, to all of you who have asked about specific shows, I have added them onto my list of Red Hot Go suggestions with your name next to them, so I can shout you out when I get around to doing a Red Hot Go on them. In particular, I would like to address JMG's suggestion of Star Wars The Clone Wars, because I have seen it and I absolutely love it. An analysis isn't quite on the table yet, but it's not out of the question. To begin on a rather meta note, my wonderful patron Orion Tran would like to know what my favourite Q&A superlative is. My favourite Q&A superlative is what is your favourite food, which in the 2 milestone videos I've done, no one has asked me. So fingers crossed someone asks me that when I hit 5,000. Ben Hyan asks, do you think taco or chocolate banana? Pardon? Lord Steele asks whether I would fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck. I would fight the duck. I'm going to lose that fight either way, and at least the duck won't trample me to death. Victor Martapini wants to know what my favourite colour is, as well as whether I like mint choc chip ice cream. My favourite colour is blue, and as for the ice cream, I'm afraid I don't like anything that tastes like mint. My favourite ice cream is banana paddle pop. Asuri asks, when would you do a face reveal? When indeed. On a more serious note, my wonderful patron Lars Espen wants to know what my favourite part of analysing media is and what got me into it in the first place. I've been interested in making YouTube content for a very long time. In fact, this is not even my first channel. I think the main thing that made me realise I could maybe do analytical content for YouTube is when I discovered a YouTuber called Explanation Point. They did these wonderful analysis videos with this delightful humour and this really striking art style that I looked at and thought, hey, I could probably do that. And so about a week later, I uploaded a video essay called Takagi-san Makes Me Happy. And I tried to replicate the style of Explanation Point, but did it much, much worse. But yeah, that's really what pushed me over the line to start doing analytical content for YouTube. As for my favourite part, well, really it's just getting to study media that I think is really good. Every single show I've gone in depth in is a show that I liked to begin with, and analysing it has always shone more light onto what makes it great in the first place. And I love to point those things out for other people as well. Some of my favourite comments are people saying that I pointed out something that they didn't notice, or leaving their own paragraph-long mini-analysis on points I might have missed. Really, it's just getting to think about media and getting others to think about media. Bacon Cake would like to know what I think has been my best analysis to date. And you know, I actually haven't really thought much about that. I could certainly tell you the worst analysis videos I've ever done off the top of my head, but I actually struggled to think of any good analysis videos that stood out. In the Takagi-san series, it's probably got to be the Summer Festival analysis, just by the sheer amount of meaning I was able to unpack from that story. And from the Toradora series, it's got to be indisputably Inseparable, because I think that analysis probably has one of the stronger endings I've done for now. For reference, I'm currently working on the next Toradora analysis, The Family Fallacy, and I think that that analysis is also going to have a rather strong ending, I hope. But of course, I couldn't answer a question like this without mentioning the critical hit video essay. I uploaded it well over a year ago, and still to this day, it remains not only one of my most viewed videos, but whenever I check to see what my most popular video was within the last 48 hours or so, it's always either right up the top or just beneath the video that just got uploaded. So yeah, people really like that critical hit video. Faris Saar asks what made me want to analyse Takagi-san. Well, when I wrote that video essay that I mentioned before, when I was finished writing it, I had an idea about maybe picking a few stories to analyze, and so I put it at the end of that video essay as a bit of a, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I did this sort of thing. And yeah, I asked for suggestions, they started coming in, and they just never stopped. So yeah, it really did just start off as a, hey, it might be cool to analyze, I think, 2 or 3 stories from the show, and yeah, but then people just kept on suggesting more and more stories, and I wound up doing, I think, just a little under half of the stories in season 1, and when it came time to do season 2, I thought, screw it, I'll just do the lot. Ayush Gupta wants to know how much I earn from doing YouTube. Well, I make about $5 a month from Patreon, and I have only just gotten to monetize my content, and right now, I'm making about $1 a day per average. Some days a little more than $1, some days a little less. But I feel like it's important to note that I did not get into YouTube to make money. In fact, I feel like most people who get into YouTube with the explicit desire to make money are setting themselves up for disappointment. I do what I do because I love it, and if I was in it for the money, I would have left a long, long time ago. Cool Guy wants to know why I started this channel in the first place, and how long it took me from channel creation to uploading my first video. Originally, the Behind Big Joe channel was meant to be a second channel to my business's YouTube page, Big Joe Productions. It was literally just going to be a place where I dumped trailers and behind the scenes videos and anything that didn't really fit in with what my main business does. That's why if you go look at the first video ever uploaded to this channel, it's a behind the scenes short for a music video you can see on Big Joe Productions. It was 5 months after I initially started this channel that I created the Takagi-san Makes Me Happy video essay, and I kind of wondered, where do I want to put this? I ultimately decided that it didn't fit with my core business, so I decided to upload it here instead. Bob Biger asks how I feel about my secondary channel, this channel, being far more successful than the main channel, Big Joe Productions. And honestly, I just think it's kind of funny. You know, if you told me when I first made this channel that it would not only outperform the main channel, but every other YouTube channel I've ever run combined, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But that's just how things have worked out, and yeah, I think that's kind of cool. Rafael Lacerda Silva wants to know how I got into anime in the first place, how I got into analysis in the first place, and where the name Behind Big Joe comes from. So I first got into anime in my late teens when one of my friends kept banging on about this Sword Art Online show. So I used a VPN to watch it on Netflix, because Australia didn't have Netflix at the time. And yeah, I thought it was pretty cool at the time, so I just kind of kept watching anime on Netflix and never really stopped. Well, okay, I did stop that one time, but that's a story for another day. As for where I became passionate about analysis, I'm gonna say that happened in university. You see, I studied interactive media for 3 years and specialised in film, and a couple of my classes involved analysing media. And for the first time ever, I was actually allowed to analyse a piece of media that I was actually interested in, unlike high school where I was mostly made to analyse Shakespearean plays. I even remember one of my favourite assessments was doing a presentation, a mini analysis in front of my class on the escape scene from Curse of the Black Pearl. In fact, I might still have that presentation somewhere. Maybe I can dig it back up and redo it for this channel. But yeah, I kind of learnt then that really focusing on media and realising the feelings it's evoking and how it's doing that, the messages it's trying to share. I kind of learnt in university that discovering all that was actually really fun. As for the name Behind Big Joe, I think I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. When I was a kid, some family friends wanted to differentiate me from their younger son, Little Joe. And the nickname stuck as I grew to be 6'6" and tower over everyone I knew. And so in 2016, when it was time to name my business, I decided to name it after that nickname. And when it came time to create a secondary channel for Big Joe Productions, I just thought Behind Big Joe fit. It was alliterative, it emphasized the behind as in behind the scenes. So yeah, that's where the name Behind Big Joe came from. Kulfdra Legend would like to know how I deal with copyright, which is very interesting because Kulfdra Legend has been a fan of mine long enough to remember quite a few of my projects getting taken down due to copyright. So the only big copyright battles I've ever had were when my very first Toradora analysis was taken down, and when my manga analysis videos were taken down some months after. And I remember being really angry at the time, but in hindsight, I kinda had that coming. I feel like my current format of just using still images is actually a really good compromise. The copyright holders don't get their knickers in a twist, and I still get to visually represent what I'm talking about. Frankly, I don't think having moving images in my videos would make them any better. I like to think that the strength of my work is the writing, and that the visuals are just there as an aid. But since I've started monetizing my content, I've come to learn that some of my outtakes videos are not suitable for advertisers, and Netflix US has also tried to claim the water tap analysis, which I am fighting as we speak. But yeah, all in all, I'm actually pretty lucky when it comes to copyright. I haven't experienced any of those complete horror stories like you hear from Jim Sterling or I Hate Everything. My wonderful patron Jaman5 would like to know how I cope with the standards that my audience puts on me, whether I like to meet those standards head on, or whether they create more pressure than I would like. Honestly, I feel like the standards I have for myself are far harsher than any of the standards that my audience has for me. I can think of a few times where I've either taken a video down or derided one of my own videos for not meeting my own level of quality, only to be met with confusion from my audience who saw nothing wrong with it. If anything, you guys could be more harsh on my work if you wanted to. My wonderful patron Data52, as well as Magic Weasel and Void OP Giza Mark II, would like to know what I plan to analyse next. Well, I think next I'd like to do a slightly shorter analysis series. I have some things that I would like to talk about in regards to Haikyuu and Shadow of War, but not enough to do a full in-depth analysis like I'm currently doing for Toradora. As for what my next big analysis series is going to be, I'm kind of trying not to think too hard about that. I just want to focus on Toradora, and when that's finished, I want to just take a moment to feel relieved. Cody Wilson would like to know if anyone else can suggest what I analyse next, and whether Sword Art Online might be up for consideration. Well, here's the thing, Cody. In order to analyse something to the extent that I did Takagi-san or am doing Toradora, I need to be really, really passionate about that piece of media, and there is no guarantee that I'm going to feel that kind of passion for any old piece of media. If you would like me to analyse something, your best bet is to request it for a red hot go, since I'll basically accept anything into that series. And if I find that I have that passion for the property, then yeah, I'll absolutely analyse it. As for Sword Art Online, I'm afraid, despite thinking it was pretty good the first time I watched it, I've come to dislike it for reasons that people far more articulate than me have already said. So I probably won't be covering Sword Art Online on this channel unless I can think of a unique spin to put on it. Randamu Piyu has asked, if there is a season 3 of Takagi-san, will I analyse it? And do I have any more Takagi-san content planned? Now, this is a question that I've answered over and over again in comments of various videos, to the extent where I've just stopped answering them now, because I get it so often. So this right here will be the last time that I answer this question. I'm only answering it now because Randamu was really polite and acknowledged that it wasn't an original question, and also so that the next time someone asks me, I can just link them to this part of this video. If there is a Takagi-san Season 3, which is becoming a bigger if as time goes on, yes, I will analyse it. I don't have plans for any more Takagi-san content, as I'm pretty sure I've said just about everything I could ever say about it. I might write more Takagi-san fanfiction. Actually, right now I have this thing set up where if I can get to 10 patrons, I will write another piece of fanfiction for Takagi-san, so yeah, consider doing that. But other than that, I don't currently have any plans for any more Takagi-san content, as I believe I've already said everything I could possibly say about it. My wonderful patron Lars Espen has pitched a Takagi-san side story for me, one in which Takagi is the main character, whose thoughts we are privy to. And they've asked what I would think about such a spin-off story. Honestly, I can't really see it working unless it's from a different part of her life where she's teasing someone else. I think the fun of the show comes from the fact that Takagi is holding all the cards, and we as an audience are with Nishikata having no idea what's going to happen next. I feel like if we knew what she was thinking, that would kind of take something away from it. But you never know, if you'd pitched Takagi and Nishikata's adult married lives with a kid, I'd probably be against that too, but we all know what a fool I would have made of myself. Again. Cybergamer would like to know why Takagi-san and Toradora are my favourite shows. Well, it really comes down to the emotional response they were able to get from me. Both shows had this really profound effect that was like a mixture of unfiltered joy and melancholy, and I really, really liked that feeling. In fact, my entire Toradora analysis is built around the premise that I am investigating how it was able to give me that feeling. But I must admit, as time has gone on, I've discovered that there are other feelings that anime can give me that I like just as much. A big example for me right now is the hype I feel when I watch Haikyuu. Follower of Jim Pickens, DJ Tartarus and Fluvels would like to know if I have any recommendations for anime that have a similar vibe to Takagi-san or Toradora. So if you're looking for a sort of light-hearted romantic comedy, I would recommend Suredure Children, Snow White with the Red Hair, Chunibyo Love and Other Delusions, Love is War, His and Her Circumstances, and Midori Days. If you're after more general anime recommendations, I'd definitely check out My Hero Academia, Yuru Camp, Death Parade, and Haikyuu. Now, to respond to Fluvels in particular, who specifically asked about curing post-Toradora blues, when I finished Toradora for the second time, a day after I finished it for the first time, I basically had the exact same question. And so I took to the internet to try and find the answer. And of all the lists of recommendations I read, one anime kept coming up over and over, a show called Clannad. Do not listen to them. Do not waste your time like I did. Save yourself, Fluvels, while you still can! Actually, that last note brings us nicely into our next question by Red vs. Blue Chronicler. They bring up how I have expressed disdain for both Clannad and A Silent Voice in the past. They would like to know if I believe these anime properties to be fundamentally flawed, or if they just don't quite match my taste. And in terms of A Silent Voice, it really is that it just doesn't match my taste. Also, the fact that everyone who told me about it told me it was this amazing, emotional piece of work, when in the end it was just fine. It didn't garner much of an emotional response from me, and I'm probably never going to watch it again, but it was fine. Clannad, on the other hand, I do believe to be a fundamentally bad show. In fact, one of my long-term goals is to make a video explaining why I feel that way, but given that that would mean having to watch Clannad again, for the time being, I'm just going to keep using it as my punching bag. The Weeblings would like to know if I have read any of Yamamoto's other manga. Yes, absolutely. In fact, I love Fudatsuki no Kyoko-chan so much that I gave the Takagi-san B-story Fireworks a pass just because it showed a still image of Hibino. And I do read the other stories that he is still currently publishing, but I can't pronounce their names just yet, so I'm just going to put them up on screen and give them my recommendation. BTMTB would like to know my preference between anime, manga, and light novels. Given that my area of expertise lies in visual passive mediums like movies, TV shows, and anime, at least I'd like to think they do, anime is definitely my favourite of the mediums you listed out. I do like to read manga, although I don't have any particular fondness for light novels. Bonjuice would like to know how many anime shows I have actually watched. While I don't have an exact number, I reckon it'd probably be between 25 and 30 at this point. Ryan the Reptile would like to know if I watch seasonal anime. Not really. I'll usually only pick up a seasonal show if people are raving about it and it sounds like my kind of thing, but right now the only show I'm keeping up to date with is Love is War. Paled would like to know my favourite genre of anime. My favourite genre of anime is romance and slice of life. Griffin EXE would like to know what my favourite action or sci-fi anime is. When it comes to sci-fi, it's gotta be Steins Gate, hands down. When it comes to action, I guess I'd say My Hero Academia, if by action you mean shows where people fight each other. If action is any show wherein a character is active, then Haikyuu is my favourite action anime. Victor Matapini, Zuzzle Pro, Akira Aviation, and Name Cannot Be Blank would like to know what my favourite movie or anime movie is. When it comes to anime movies, I haven't seen an awful lot, so my answer is going to be basic as hell. My favourite anime movie is Your Name. As for my favourite movie, I could not possibly pick just one. I like all the popular stuff, your MCU, your Star Wars, except for Rise of Skywalker, the Pirates films, and the Harry Potter franchise. But more specifically, a recent movie I really enjoyed was Knives Out, directed by Rian Johnston. My favourite romance film is About Time. I think The Princess Bride, despite being popular, is still an underrated classic that so many people dismiss due to its sappy name. And literally any film directed by Edgar Wright is a masterpiece. Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Baby Driver, all fantastic films. Duncan Bones asks, what is your most anticipated game for this year? Well, Duncan, I gotta admit, I don't really get excited for games these days, as most of the big releases are live service garbage, and I'm really not into that kind of stuff. But I must admit, Cyberpunk 2077 looks fantastic, as does the indie game 12 Minutes. JobSent01 and OPLol would like to know the kind of music I listen to. Honestly, I don't get a lot of chances to listen to music these days, but when I do, I typically like to listen to music that I discovered through anime. My current playlist consists of Daddy Daddy Do, or the second OP song from Love is War, nearly every OP song from Haikyuu, and literally every ED song from Takagi-san. And finally, Void OP, Giza Mark II, and Shu/I'm Just Too Good would like to know how old I am. I am 24 years old. Actually, the last milestone video I did for 500 subscribers I filmed on my 24th birthday. And that's kind of weird to think about, like it took me a couple of years to get to 500. But then from 500 to 1,000 has only taken months. So I guess growth on YouTube really is like a snowball effect. It's incremental. It doesn't go up in a straight line. It gets more intense the bigger your channel is, which is kind of cool. The next milestone that I will celebrate will probably be 5,000, so it probably won't be around as quickly as this one was compared to the last, but you never know. And that is it. I would like to thank everyone who submitted a question, and I would also like to thank the 1,000 plus of you who have subscribed. I've said it before, but I run this channel as a hobby, so the fact that so many of you are still interested in what I have to say is really, really cool. I'd like to give a special thanks to my patrons, Orion Tran, Quincy Chamberlain, Jaman5, Lars Espen, and Soren Pinocchio. Knowing my luck, I've said that wrong. And lastly, I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and I will see you next time.